Now there's various things we have to do to look after our sheep, and we're going to use this lamb that's about 3 months old, 3 or 4 months old, to demonstrate really. But what we do is we have to take good care of their feet, because sheep tend to go lame if they've got something caught in the middle. And what we have to do is trim their feet regularly to make sure they're not overgrown, just like humans. Just cut their nails or trim them regularly. And with lambs, the main thing, when lambs are born, we need to make sure they get enough milk, and more particularly the colostrum, which is the early stages of milk which the mother produces. And if the lamb is too weak or incapable of sucking and getting that colostrum, what we have to do is we have to use something called a stomach tube. Now this stomach tube, it doesn't hurt them. What we do is we feed it down the esophagus in the mouth, down the esophagus of the lamb, and then we fill it with the mother's colostrum. And that tube goes down the esophagus and straight into the stomach. So we know that it gets the early stages of colostrum, which basically help to kill off any bacteria and help the immune system of the lamb. The other things that we have to do, we have to vaccinate the lambs. This one in particular is a Scabbyvax Vaccination, which basically injects the lamb with something called ORF. And there's lots of other vaccinations that we do with our sheep, but this is mainly with the lamb. Next, what we have to do is we have to rubber ring them. So when lambs are old enough, after a few days, what we do is we put a small orange rubber ring that goes around their tails, because if we leave the tails too long, they get too mucky, and what happens is when they get to lambing time, it gets more difficult and you can get diseases and contamination. So what we do is we put a rubber ring around the tails, and after a while that drops off. And it goes numb. We also have to drench the sheep, which is what we do. We give them a drench, which helps their immune system and works in various different ways. And we can also mark them with a marker spray. So we can put numbers on them so we know which sheep is which and which is the mother. Now you see here that we've got the sheep sat up like that. That's their most comfortable position. They quite enjoy being in that position. Now you can see here we've taken the wool off one of the sheep and not off the other. The other one was too young. So what we do is it's called shearing, and we use hair clippers and we take the wool off, because otherwise the sheep get too hot, and otherwise flies can lay their eggs in there and the maggots hatch and end up causing problems with the sheep. So that's why we do that. One of the things that mothers do to protect their lambs is to stamp their feet. And you can see here there's a ewe stamping their feet, and Bob's a complete wimp.